Hello, everyone, and we're live once again with another distinguished speaker in our seat. I am so thrilled to do this again. We're almost to the end of the year 2022. Time goes by fast, doesn't it? And I think we cannot end the year at a better note than to have the guest that we have in our seat today. We have
Thank
only
you.
a few Distinguished Speaker Series guests left for the year before we say adios and start the new year. But today I welcome our guest, our distinguished speaker, all the way from Essex, UK, United Kingdom. One of the best in her field. I welcome you, Narjeet Sohanpal, onto our Distinguished Speaker Series. Thank you so much for joining us today, Narjeet.
Thank you, Asma, for having me here today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Well, let me introduce you to everyone who is, thrilled to know more about you. Narjeet is a certified NLP practitioner, and you're going to explain more about NLP, Narjeet. I'm going to leave it to the experts on that one. And an accredited coach who has worked with the parents and children for over 10 years. Narjeet is an extremely successful and highly sought after parental coach, a serial traveler, and she specializes in helping parents feel empowered and confident with their parenting and relationship skills, and to find balance in being a supportive parent as opposed to being a reactive parent, and a great partner and a happy individual. Narjeet is also an author, and congratulations, Narjeet, you
Thank
have an
you.
upcoming book, which
I
is
do.
titled Is Your Child Happy? I can't wait to get my hands on that one, which
Thank
is
you.
full of tools and resources to become an effective parent of happy children. And stay tuned with us till the end to perhaps receive a copy of a signed copy by the author of, Is Your Child Happy? So, welcome, Narjeet, and thank you again for joining us. Um,
Thank you.
you, you have a long story to tell, but we're going to start from the start. Let's talk about from the beginning. Where were you born, and you know a little bit about
Yeah,
your childhood.
thank you. Well, I was born in Kenya, Nairobi, a
Hmm.
beautiful country, and I lived there for a pretty short time actually, because my parents moved across to the UK
Hmm.
when I was 3 years old in the 70s,
Hmm.
and have been in the UK since. And have really enjoyed, my education here, and I've studied here, set up my businesses, and I am still here. So yeah, that's where I started. That's when my
Uh-huh.
story started.
Uh-huh. So, are you a single child? You have siblings? How was your childhood?
Well, I always actually boast about this because I
Right.
must be a very lucky person. I'm one of five girls, no brothers. My parents, who are just absolutely wonderful people, I've got great admiration for them because they haven't really brought us up as girls or boys. They
Mm-hmm.
brought us up as successful, strong women, people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a really fantastic childhood. I really can't say, oh my God, I've really not enjoyed this part of my life or this stage. This was uncomfortable. I loved it. My parents have done a fantastic job.
What's what's your number in the order of siblings?
I'm the fourth youngest.
Uh-huh. I always ask this because I've been told
Mm,
a number of times, because you're an entrepreneur, right? And you're a
yes.
serial entrepreneur. You've had other businesses. We're going to talk about that as well. Before you came to establish this one, and of course,
Hmm.
we're proud to call you one of our clients and partners in that process
Yeah.
also. But it seems that people say, oh, entrepreneurial skill set, or that natural tendency of being an entrepreneur usually comes from the order of how you're born, the firstborn or the lastborn. But I think it's a myth. What do you think?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because my father, since actually he started going to work with my grandfather from the
Hmm.
age of 9, whenever he could skip school in Kenya,
Hmm.
he's always been an entrepreneur. He's never ever worked for anyone else. And
Ah.
come to think of it, he is one of 13 siblings in his family. Majority of the men in his family, my uncles, are also entrepreneurs and work for
Wow.
themselves.
Uh-huh.
So really, I think it is a myth. I think it's the way it's your makeup, and you know what you desire in life and how excited you are about things. You know, I've got two wonderful twin sisters that are older. They married very early and having, leading wonderful lives.
Uh-huh.
To one person's never worked. So, and they enjoy. It's just what you really want and what you desire out of life. I think is how you actually turn out to be an entrepreneur.
So do you think that it was your father being an entrepreneur and your uncles being entrepreneur had an
Absolutely.
impact and influence on you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And from when I was in my teens, I started like a little. I love photography. I'm a qualified photographer as well. Um,
Nice.
I started a little business through school, taking photographs, and there was a dark room there. I used to develop photographs, and I got the
Hmm.
taste of earning money then.
How old were you?
And I was 13.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then in addition to that, I worked in a local sweet shop, and I think I was earning something like £7, which is crazy, but it was a great deal then.
It's your
Uh,
first earning. Yeah.
yeah, and I saved money. I did as many jobs as I could, and then I bought a video camera, and then that really took off at the age of 17, and I was earning big bucks.
Wow.
So yeah, I think it was just inbuilt, and I think my first job was in real estate. And the reason I wanted to start in real estate is because they gave you company cars, sports cars, and I thought, yeah, that's an excellent way of getting a sports car, getting a job. It's wonderful.
Right. Okay. So that was so you transitioned into the adult world as a
Yes.
realtor, as your first
Mhm.
job and your first entrepreneurial journey, part of the journey. Tell us a little bit about that also. Did you pursue it? And I know that, I know the story behind it, but I want the
Yeah.
audience to know that how did you go on and you built something? You built a lot of wealth around that, but we want
Well,
to
I
hear from you.
did. After graduating, I did have a short spurt working for Honeywell.
Hmm.
Uh, and I just didn't. I I love computers. I love all that technology, but I'm a people's person, and I
Hmm.
just thought sitting here behind machines is not just really going to cut it for me. So
Hmm.
when I did actually join a real estate world, it's fascinating the amount of people that I met, the excitement, the competition. I was just in my element. I just thought, yes, this is what's for me. And I worked for quite a large company, and I was poached by another larger company. And then I just thought that, yeah, at the age of 24, I'm ready to go and do this myself. I'd learned an awful lot of experience, all the tricks of the trade, and I
Hmm.
did really well for myself. So I did. I quit and I set up my own offices. And in fact, from one, I set up another one, and then I ended up with three offices. And
At
then I moved.
24, you decided to go on your own. You decided to quit what you were working, the safety, the so-called
Yeah,
safety of the, and then you
yeah,
went on to set up your own three offices. That's
yeah,
remarkable to have
yeah.
that kind of, but you were sure of yourself, but you knew that you will.
I don't know if it was just being young and just
Mhm.
careless almost, and not having, the thought of failing ever. I never thought that this was ever going to fail. And I was pretty lucky because I didn't, touch wood. It just happened. And I think, I say to myself that, I was really quite young, but there's a lot of hard work that went into it. I worked 7 days a week to 7, 8, 9
Wow.
o'clock. So it wasn't just luck, and it wasn't just my attitude. There was a lot of hard effort that went into
Mhm.
it.
Of
So,
course.
and not giving up. And I just think that that tough attitude, and also a very male dominated industry.
Mhm.
in the UK, especially. I'm sure you understand that. Maybe it is
Mhm.
in Canada too,
It
but
still is around the world. There are just women breaking through the
yeah,
glass ceiling, but
predominantly male
yeah,
dominated,
yeah.
which really it didn't matter to me. I knew what I needed to do, and
Mhm.
I was going to be successful, and that was my mindset. And I then carried on, and I built a multi-million dollar company, and I ran it for 26, 27 years.
Wow.
And yeah,
Wow.
as my full-time career, but alongside that, then we decided, and I got married.
Mhm.
And my husband's very entrepreneurial, also very competitive, and he was in the jet business. So recently, the last decade, we set up a jet business as well.
Mhm.
But
Wow.
they may seem very polished, very snazzy sort of businesses, but they're extremely difficult to manage. They're the high end
Yeah.
clientele is very challenging
Mhm.
indeed. So you really got to be on your toes all the time. It's not an easy ride.
No, no, for sure. But there is, you talked about the success mindset, and I'm now after, I want to touch upon that and then move on to talk about your life defining moments in your life, because you've had a few, and we really want to get
Yes.
the success. Tell me about the success mindset, because you said there was failure was not an option, and you had that mindset of being successful. I will do it. So tell me, what does it take when, for especially for those that are listening, and there are a few of us, those that are joining us live right now, so I want them to say hi to us. Thank you for joining us live, everyone. But what is that for those that are either on the fence at the moment or are looking to transition from their 9 to 5 to a full-time business, right? For
Yeah.
somebody, for them, it's important for them to hear from somebody like you. What is success
Yeah.
mindset?
Personally, for me, I think it really started from childhood,
Mhm.
because we never discussed as a family failure. It was an option. You just get on and do it.
Mhm.
Not that I had silver lining. My parents were just, yeah, you can do this. You got it, and they'd support me. So I think it's really important to have that support mechanism. That group that surrounds you, so you always have to surround yourself with people that are going to, pick you up, push you forward, and not bring you down. I think
Mhm.
that's been my real secret. I had some wonderful friends. I still have them.
Mhm.
My best friend for 45 years, who will kind of pull me up and say, yeah, let's go for it. But I think you've got to be your authentic self,
Mhm.
because there's so
Good point.
many people that have got their own, that everyone else has been taken. So you've got to be yourself. And if you're not comfortable with doing something, a strategy, then don't do it.
Mhm.
You've
I
got to
agree.
just think, this isn't what for me. I can't do it. I know I can be successful, but I'm going to do it my way. And that way will work for you. Um,
Mhm.
Failure, I think, yeah, it comes. It comes in ways that we don't even realize. If we have the right mindset, the right attitude to failure, I think we should welcome failure, because with failure comes experience to
Mhm.
make sure that you don't, repeat those situations. Because you don't know if you carry on doing the same thing and it's not working, then you need to know that this isn't happening.
Yeah.
Change it.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important. That's my
Change.
message.
So I like the fact that you said change it, don't give up, because there,
Yeah,
that's your 10,000 ways of how it doesn't work. So the 10,001 way is going to
yeah,
work, but this is your way of methodology of figuring out how it works. And the
yeah,
sooner you make those mistakes, the better it is, as you said, right? So
yeah. And
fantastic.
I think patience has an awful lot to do with it. I think
Mhm.
that too often, too many times, we want success very quickly.
Mhm.
And it depends, which part
Mhm.
of the world you are, what industry you're in, what you're offering to the world. All of these things take time. Organic growth is just a wonderful way to make life happen in any aspects, really. I think patience is very important.
Right. So when people say we wanted this yesterday, great that you do,
Yeah,
but be ready to make those mistakes on the way and learning from them, right?
absolutely. And I think now even more so with technology, with all our social media, You can't have, or it's quite difficult to build a following overnight. It takes
Mm-hmm.
time. It takes months
For sure.
and even longer to, build a engagement with them, to be authentic.
So tell me now, in this 26, 27 years of your journey, building multi-million dollar business for yourself and then jointly with your husband, because he's now into a high-end, jets, those airplane business. It's really high end. You must have a few downfalls or hiccups on the way. Tell me about the life-defining moments that you've had. Let's talk a little bit about what made you who you are today, right? What you went through and how
Hmm.
did you go through it?
Um, well, the first defining moment was quite traumatic, and that was when I was still single. My sisters, unfortunately, both of them went through divorces, and it was a difficult time for the whole family, and it was pretty new to us, and they needed support.
Mhm.
And I just stepped up. I stepped up and I just thought, well, I'm going to be the one to support them. And I did financially as well as, my parents. So
Mhm.
that was quite a shocking time for me. And it showed
Mhm.
the resilience in our family and in myself as to how we can change a situation from quite, from the outside world looking at it as, oh my God, this is disastrous,
Mhm.
to, yeah, we can get through this.
Mhm.
And I think that bond has been very special for me as to, leading, through life really, and it stuck.
So that had an
And
impact on you. How did it define you as a person? Developing resiliency, being,
oh, definitely
yeah.
resilience and having confidence
Mhm.
in myself and the people that were around me. I think
Mhm.
resilience, most definitely, it made me very strong.
Mhm.
Because I
Wonderful.
think I was looking at the world through rosy eyes. Everything is always going to be perfect, and it isn't like that. Things
Yeah.
go wrong,
Being
you
so
know.
young, yeah, at
Yeah,
that
things go
time.
wrong.
And then you
Yeah.
moved on and you built this business and then something else happened with you. Tell us about that.
Uh, yes, and I think I don't really, regret that that happened to me. But
Mhm.
3.5 years ago,
Mhm.
uh, you know, from coming from a very active life, enjoying. A lot of holidays and enjoying a different lifestyle.
Mhm.
I overnight felt extremely unwell and I fell ill. And I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called Guillain-Barré,
Mhm.
which led me to being completely paralyzed within 4 days of being diagnosed. And
Wow.
yeah, the only thing that I could move was my eyeballs. I couldn't even close my eyelids.
Wow.
Yeah, and 10 days being in ICU, I couldn't function properly. My lungs collapsed, so I was put on a life support machine, and I fell into a coma for 2 weeks, and it was a downhill, really spiral after that. There was
Mhm.
one thing after another. My organs started to fail me, and I think on 3 occasions, I think, the doctors called my family in, my two girls. I have two beautiful daughters,
Mhm.
beautiful husband. Daughters are 12 and 24 now, but they were 8 and, 20. I think it had an impact on them every time that they had to come and see their mother, who couldn't speak to them because I had a tracheostomy in my throat.
Mhm.
I was rigged up to all the machines that you could ever think of. It was very traumatic for them and for me
Must be.
because
Yeah.
I could, if I had to say goodbye to them at that time, obviously I haven't, I'm still here,
Yes.
is I couldn't have said that even. Um, yeah, so I think that was an experience, but that experience
Your
taught
mind
me.
was awake. You had the awareness of what's going on around you. It's just
I was
that you
very
were
compass mentis,
paralyzed. Wow. Wow.
completely paralyzed, and that was for 6 months.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow, I can't imagine, Narjeet, being in that position. I know I've seen and heard stories of those, but coming from somebody like you
Yeah,
directly,
yeah.
and did that, so what changed? And now obviously you're better, and thank goodness that you are, and you're with us. So what happened? Like, how did that impact you in
What
the long
changed?
run?
I learned that really, coming from somebody who was a control freak, who thought that, if I put my mind to doing something, yes, I can do it. I think my thinking has shifted in
Mhm,
having something else that's been introduced to me, which is that, you've got to learn to go with the flow. It
mhm,
Things change, the world changes, and you really can't stop it from doing that. So,
mhm,
you just got to get on that rail and just go along with it and just give it the best energy that you can. And that's what I've given. Because seriously, there was another lady, unfortunately, who, this is a very rare disease, but as it happened, when I went into rehab for a
mhm.
further 2 months, because I couldn't
Yeah,
walk, I couldn't talk,
you had to
my
relearn.
handwritings,
Yeah.
I had facial palsy, I couldn't speak properly, I couldn't eat, I couldn't write,
Wow.
I couldn't do anything.
Wow.
So that really, that kind of shook me up a little bit, but I'm stronger for it, to be honest. And I'm here today. Um,
You
but
certainly are.
it changed it slowed me down a little bit, and
Mhm,
I took a change of a strategy in my career.
mhm,
Although I have the real estate business, I have people running it for me now. I just wanted to do something that I've always been passionate about. And actually,
mhm,
15 years ago, I'd already qualified as a coach,
mhm,
but just to help my friends and family, because I wanted to do it. I've always been passionate about helping people. I love being that ear for people to, talk
mhm,
to, and I'm a good listener.
mhm,
And I thought, well, I have this quality. How am I going to use it? How am I going to help other parents, children in particular, after my experience watching my children when I was lying down on that bed, watching their trauma and
mhm,
not being able to help them. And it did make a difference to them because, my daughters, I think, needed that support. They needed professional support
mhm.
during and especially afterwards.
Yes, being
Um,
so, it must be so traumatic on them. Absolutely, and
my eldest, most definitely, because my husband was rallying around, trying to
yeah,
keep the family together, trying to
together.
keep
Yeah,
me
yeah.
visiting, keep everybody informed. And I just think that, yeah, it was a tough time for my eldest daughter. And that was the trigger. That was it.
That's how you
I've
came up with this
accomplished.
idea
Uh,
of this business of parenting coach, and
I just think that it really wasn't an idea. I think it was a must. I think it was just
mhm,
a challenge now for me to actually see how many families and children I can help. And even just helping one family
mhm.
and child is success for me.
Yeah.
And that
And
brings me here.
here, yes, and here we are. You have an amazing program. So we're going to talk about the parenting, and you've successfully, and we've got your other stories that are coming through as well. We'll be posting your, regularly on our LinkedIn and
Thank
our
you.
YouTube, as well as our Facebook pages. So for those of you that are following and not following us, go ahead and follow us. We'll provide all the links for Narjeet and her program and her website and her workshops, because you do workshops regularly. So
Yes, I
tell us a
do.
little bit about your program. Like, so now you developed this program. What is it about, and why should people come and join you for that program?
Well, I've coached so many families now,
Mhm,
in the last decade. But really, in the last 3 years, I've really had that. I've concentrated on my niche, parenting and children. And I have read and learned and been to so many uh, diplomas, and I've re-educated myself, which I
mhm,
take pride in,
mhm,
and I keep up to date with it. I wanted to merge all that the experience that I've learned, and I put it into a program. And I
mhm,
didn't just concentrate on one particular thing. My program has 10 modules. It
mhm,
has exercises in there. So real time exercises that you can do with your children, and I've explained it very nicely and very easily, simple ways to implement these exercises.
Mhm.
But I want to introduce the Eastern way of my life, coming from an Eastern background, into
Mhm.
the Western way of life, and helping parents shift their ways to becoming conscious parents. Because, I think to a point, really, before I fell ill,
Mhm.
I was, parenting unconsciously, doing things like robotic,
Yeah.
auto,
Erase.
you know,
Yeah.
get the child in the car, drive them to school, kiss them
Yeah.
goodbye, lovely, lovely, pick them up again, do the same thing, cook, go out, etc. When did I actually stop and say, well, let's just do something else. Let's crack the egg. Let's break that shell and,
I
you know,
hear you as a
do
parent
things.
because I am a mother of two boys, and I well, I've tried to inculcate conscious parenting as much as I can, but we kind of go on autopilot because that's what we
Absolutely.
see around us, and we find transactional. And tell me if I'm correct or wrong, and if you can enhance this thought that we do transactional activities with our children, thinking that that's taking care of them because of
Well,
their.
it's ticking the box.
Mhm.
We feel great. Okay, I've done that. Great. And to be honest, we do carry an awful lot of guilt with us. But you see,
Mhm.
the difference is it's a generational thing.
Mhm.
My mother was at home, although she was helping my father in her businesses. At 3:30, she'd pick us up from school every single day. She'd
Mhm.
be there, and then that's all we would know. We wouldn't even know that she
Mhm.
was at work or whatever. She'd have those snacks ready for us. She'd have all those, you know, and
Yeah,
sometimes she'd have my grandmother there, my aunties there, her friends, and it was just a
yeah.
nice warm atmosphere to come home to, even if you had a bad day. When
Mhm.
do parents get a chance now? You have to have double incomes because
Yeah.
there's certain things that we want. We want the materialistic things. You have
Mhm.
to work for them. We want our
Mhm.
children to have it. We want our children to have the best education that costs
Mhm.
money,
Mhm.
extracurriculum activities. All of these things cost money, and fabulous holidays for
Right.
experiences.
Right.
So, we're so hard on ourselves. Sometimes we just need to stop and we need to think what really matters. And I
Mhm.
think, you know, family, your circle, your unit is what matters. And every unit is different and requirements and necessities. So,
And I've seen firsthand that this program that you've built here has actually built bonds and relationships, the broken bonds that were, brought together again in relationships again with
yeah.
parents, between parents and children. What age bracket usually is that what you
I'm
work with?
working from the age of 6 to 18.
Mhm.
So, the teenager module 9 is really one of my favorites because it's at a stage where not only your child is transitioning, but you are also as a parent. So every year your
Yes.
child is developing. Don't forget, you also as a parent are developing, you're
Mhm.
changing. The
True.
way you parented your child when they were 1 years old is completely different to the way you are parenting that same child now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And you know how we all say that we wish we were, there was a book,
Yeah. And I really
before.
believe that parenting, as soon as you have a child, you should have a manual with it. But,
I wish they were born with a
my
manual, but we now
yeah,
have it to have it, your book.
my program, I'm very proud of it. It works, and it offers an awful lot of value. We
Mhm,
do meditations.
mhm,
Um, a lot of people are new to meditation.
mhm,
A lot of children are new to meditation,
mhm.
and the results are just absolutely amazing. There's a lot of pressure on our children out there,
Yes,
competition, and
yes.
it's not coming from anywhere else, but it's coming from their insular circle, their
Mhm,
friends, school, the people that they mingle with, their
mhm,
cousins,
mhm.
etc., etc. So it's very close to them. And social media, unfortunately, doesn't really help.
Yeah.
So social media is something that is also very good for our children, but at which age we need to understand that. And we can't
Mhm.
just, turn a blind eye to it because we're busy parents. That is very important that we know. So it covers a wide range of
So you give us hope,
parenting.
Narjeet. I'm so happy that you give us hope for parents of children who may have a good bond with, but it can become stronger and better and more effective and more real, more
Or you
conscious.
can lose it.
You can lose it too over time. And for those that
Yeah,
may not have, that may have some friction there, that may have some, challenges there,
it
your
can
program
change.
offers that too, right? That can
Most
change.
definitely, it can change. It was there before, it can come back.
Absolutely. So I know that we're almost to the end of our journey here. It's
Oh,
so
that
goes
went
by
quick.
so fast. So I
Yeah.
know that you're offering, especially to our audience here, a signed copy of your book that's coming up
Hmm.
soon, and they can also download an ebook. So tell us, where can they go? And you do have a workshop
Amazon.
coming up too,
Yeah,
right?
I have a workshop on the 22nd, sorry, the 30th of November.
Mm-hmm.
And that's conquering child tantrums
Mm-hmm.
in 3 simple steps. But
Mm-hmm.
I also have a upcoming workshop early in the year as well. So you can always check that out in Parents HQ website,
Mm-hmm.
because there's always something going on. I'm just so excited. I don't think that this is work for me. My husband complains all the time, you're always doing things. And I said, yeah, because I can't get myself away from it. It's exciting, and with your help, Rasma, I have to say that, you've walked me into the 21st century
Thank you.
with doing things for myself, because I've always been spoiled with other people doing
Yeah.
it for me.
No, but you're amazing the way you take it and you implement it and you run with it. You already are an accomplished woman, a multi-million dollar wealth building person this is something that I would really like to bring to attention to our audience, that no matter what age and stage of our life and business we are at, we're always be open to coaching and mentoring. I have coaches and mentors, you have coaches, and you must have had mentors along the way when
I
over
have.
27 years of your real estate business that you've
Yeah,
built.
absolutely.
And so did I. And we are, this is what we are. It's there's always something new to learn and with
Yeah.
changes, so be open to that. And if you're open to that and ready to implement, you can see remarkable changes, and I can see that you do that really, really well, Narjeet.
Yeah. I mean, as coaches in particular, we need to
Mhm.
be coachable. We need to
Yes.
be coached,
Yes.
because how are we to learn?
Yes, I can't wait to join. I will be there for your
Excellent.
upcoming workshop
Excellent.
on
I'm
November
excited.
30th. I am
I'm very
excited for you.
excited.
You've got a
Yeah.
ton of people coming in. So
Yeah,
for
we
those
do.
of you that we want to join her on her workshop on November 30th, we'll be giving the link down below in our YouTube channel, as well as all the links to, I just shared, I believe, her website, her parentshq.com. And also for upcoming workshops, you can go there, download her ebook when you register, right, for your workshop, right, Narjeet?
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Um, so that ebook has resources, tools available
Oh, yeah.
for.
And exercises. Yeah. And parenting styles, different parenting styles. So that would be interesting for
Yeah.
everybody to read.
And I can't wait to read your upcoming book in January, the one that's launching in
Yeah.
January, for
Hmm.
sure. We'll get our hands on. So so your name will go into the draw. So if you can kindly go and join our LinkedIn and our Facebook group, Sales and Webinar Accelerator, put your name down and we will do a draw for Narjeet's book, upcoming book for you. And for
Lovely.
her ebook, just go and join her webinar, her upcoming workshop, and download that ebook from there right away. So you don't miss anything at all. I really appreciate. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for
Thank
coming
you very
over.
much, Esma. Thank you.
It was wonderful talking to you, and I know that you have a wealth of knowledge to spread with parents of children between 6 to 18, and for sure they will benefit from it. So folks, we'll have another upcoming distinguished speaker on December 6th, I believe, so stay tuned for that. We will be promoting that pretty soon. I thank again for Narjeet joining us all the way from
Thank you.
UK at this time, and take care, guys. We'll see you again. Bye for now.
Thank you.